Right, everyone. Good morning. How's everybody feeling? Thank you for the notes. I'm Leonka Reina, and this is the Health Hustle Show. My co-host is out today with a little bit under the weather, so we will be managing today and having a lot of fun. But we've got a great show for you today. Today we have Danielle Rama Hoffman she's in the waiting room with us today. And Danielle is really fun. She's a four-time best-selling author, international channel, done legacy work coaching to thousands of conscious leaders. She's an expert practitioner, includes entrepreneurs, and has established a worldwide emerging business. Her business partner is Tho, who she channels and has created several bodies of work, including the Multi-Abundance Method, the Magdalene Wealth Codes, the Divine Light Activation, and the Magdalene Manifestation Cards Deck. I'm so excited to be talking with her. As soon as I picked up the Magdalene Manifestation cards, I could not put the book down that accompanied it. And then I went on to look up for other books that she has written, and I couldn't put that down. So I'm super excited to speak with her today. But just as we always do, we've got a little bit of announcements for you to get started, and then we'll jump right in. Today is Thursday, May 1st. Yay! We've gotten to the springtime and we're getting to May. And I have a little bit of mystic space weather news for you. So today's space weather news comes to us from NASA, and I always like to cite NASA as a credible source. And it says the Iberian power outage. The sun was not to blame. Officials are still scrambling to understand what was the cause of this week's mysterious power outage in Spain and Portugal. It's already clear that space weather didn't do it. So they write here. There were no solar flares, no geomagnetic storms, no suspicious fluctuations in the solar wind before or during the outage. However, I was looking through some of the sources that I always kind of follow. I actually do follow, which is one is spaceweathernews.com and also the creator of Suspicious Observers. And he's done several reports and papers, gone toe-to-toe with different scientists on various different space weather and solar activity. And he has his own theory about a space anomaly that may have happened where the magnetosphere field kind of fluctuated just periodically and enough to allow a solar stream to hit the Earth. And so with this fluctuation and very quick, excitability with the electric grid, if you will, it caused a mass supercharge, and some of the grid was just not ready to handle that supercharge. But I'll let him tell you the whole theory. I mean, it is a theory. It is some of the stuff that he's looking at, the correlation of data. So that might be something to kind of fun to kind of, I guess, just hunt down for your own self and make your own awarenesses. The other thing I wanted to share here was just a little note about the times that we're experiencing. And I always talk about the different solar flares and what's going on when the solar flares are the coronal holes are Earth facing. But today we have an ascension energy update, and this update comes to us from Divine Energy Works. I always like to give credit where credit is due, and they write the Schumann resonance reading, which is the Earth's heartbeat, right? Was at peak amplitude, power 36, the harmonic field reorganization. The Schumann resonance is reflecting a harmonic field reorganization and a geometrically encoded transmission, stabilizing the Earth's field into harmonic coherence. Emerald and gold light codes are rewiring the heart root Earth star axis, activating dormant strands for present stability and soul-based receiving. At the cellular level, this DNA recoding through harmonic key codes, subtle intelligent upgrades that let your body hold more source intelligence with less resistance. Integration is not linear. I think we all know that, right? Because it's a lot of waves, and this is the reason why I give these reports to you, so that you know if you're really tired or you need some grounding, definitely give yourself some grace. And it is It is not linear, it is mathematical, multidimensional, and alive. So that is what I wanted to share with you. Lots of different information coming out from different sources, but that's what we got for today's Mystic Space Weather News. Yay! Now, without further ado, I will bring up Danielle. Let's get her pinned and ask her to unmute. There we go.
Hi, everyone.
Yay, she just said that's what my headache was about yesterday. Thank you. Oh yes, today's the hottest May record here in London at 29 degrees. Hi Danielle, how are you doing?
Good. I had to have my emerald and my gold on today, so I must have been in tune with your report.
Right. I
Uh,
well, emerald and gold, those are two of my favorites as well. So I'm a green girl. I love emerald and I always wear gold. Oh, we're excited to have you today, Danielle. One of the things that was really exciting was when you asked for our address so that you could send us some beautiful Magdalene manifestations cards. And I got these in the mail whenever my mother was in town from California. My mom and I have a really profound, interesting relationship of lots of change and manifestation in our lives, but we've also had a lot of tumultuous. We've had troubles in our times, in our past, as far as a mother-daughter relationship, but we have a great one now. And so we tend to be each other's best cheerleader when it comes to stuff that in the areas of manifestation and really working toward what we want to. Both of us, I mean, just to be completely honest, both of us got sober within the last decade. And so it's been a really beautiful journey to watch each other grow. My mother did first, and then I was super empowered and inspired by her growth. And so I decided to have a spiritual awakening in that way. So let me just tell you. So I got these Magdalene cards in the mail. And then I was like running through stuff and I was like, hey mom, take a look at these. And I'm supposed to review them for the author that's going to come on our show. And she was like, okay. And so she went back to her room because she was with us for about a week and a half. And she was gone for maybe about, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. Not that long, but she was kind of doing her own thing. And all of a sudden she runs back in. She's like, Lala, which is her nickname for me. And she's like, oh my gosh, I have to order these to be meet me in California. I was like, what are you talking about? She's so motivated. She goes, I'm going to do a spread for, and I didn't even know she even knew what spreads were. She was like, I'm going to do a spread for my goals for the new sewing project that I want to do, for the new costumes I want to make, for the weight loss that I want to experience. I want to shape shift. I was like, oh my gosh, mom. Like she was so fired up and motivated. Oh my gosh. And I was like, well, mom, I was like, and I looked at, I was like, I would give you those, but I have to use them for the interview. She goes, oh, no worries. I already got online and I ordered my own.
oh,
I thought
that's
it was so
awesome.
fun. Yeah, and she was like, so we can do them together. So she'll be listening in today. I thought that was so fun. I didn't even tell her anything about what was going on, and she just came back super inspired. So, gosh, Danielle, that whole long story to tell you how you've already been moving and shaking with this beautiful creation. I always find that people's stories about how they came into doing this work, especially when you see someone that has put together something so beautiful, how you got started. It's just really motivating to hear sometimes that, people are just like you and me, when we get started and we have our own kind of hesitations, but how we say yes to following this work.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, I love that your mom and you are sharing this and on fire. And, I always feel like when that question gets answered, of course, I'm highly grounded and successful, but also super woo. That I would say how I got started probably is, past lives and then came into this life and tried to figure out what I was sensing that was a mismatch from what everybody was saying. And
Yeah.
so, I think my journey into really contributing to others came through my own healing journey. And since you brought up sobriety, also I got sober in my early 20s. So I'm going on almost 30 years now. And that was a key point for me as well, because at that time, I went from kind of being atheist, or I always had a connection to nature, and yet that whole process really was a big part of my connection to spirituality and source, and now it's just part of my, like, a fabric of who I am and what I'm up to. And I love too that you said, like, yeses. It feels like it was just one yes after another yes. Like, after I got sober, I went to massage school, and I'd already done counseling in college and studied psychology and was a counselor, and then I did energy work. And so it was just like one yes to the next one, and always asking that question of what's going to be the most efficient and effective for those that I have a divine appointment with. And then with the yeses, there's also no's, right? So I just, for those tuning in, the yeses are really key, and also our no's. So I'm also acknowledging the no's in my path.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be a little bit jarring to get a no. I remember when just when I finally walked away from corporate, I had been one foot in, one foot out for about 10 years. And finally, my spirit guides, or myself, or my higher soul and self, was not making it available for me to do the things that I had done. I used to be able to, like, pull a rabbit out of my hat and force myself to make things work. And I was really getting a lot of no's that I was not accustomed to in my corporate field. And I work in sales, so getting no's. I had worked in sales, so getting no's was really tough. And I was really finding myself having to struggle in order to, really try to fit in. So, and now I'm feel so blessed that I got the no, that I got the clear no, Leonka, this is not where we want you. Because I probably would have tried to keep making it work and
Mhm.
made myself sick even. And so that's
Yeah.
a kind of scary thing.
Yeah, and there's a lot in what you shared as well of how we can be conditioned to just create from force, from struggle. Action certainly is a way that we probably all manifested. And, what the Magdalenes really has brought in my experience, is that the action and the doing and the forcing and the struggling is kind of like putting the cart before the horse. Like, really, what needs to come first, in my experience, is our energetic alignment, also with what we're here to do and to be and to have.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like the big rocks in our life path, and why we're here. So yeah, that the no can come from inside and also outside.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that I found really compelling about the Magdalene Manifestation deck, or the book that accompanied it, was that you did talk a lot about how we used to create from this place of, like, maybe it was more masculine, like pushing and forcing and scarcity. Can you talk a little bit about and this is why I couldn't put it down. Can you talk a little bit about the difference in how one could create with the the help of the Magdalenes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it was interesting. I was just tuning into this today, that when the Magdalene codes downloaded or came in, was really a period in my life where, like, things were rocking. My business was rocking, like money, fabulous.
Oh
All the
no.
things that I'd wanted to have were really happening, and I was burnout, and kind of my personal relationships uh, were on getting scraps, and you just froze. I don't know if that's me or you. Um, and then the codes came in, and it really was this whole shift to be creating from a place of more ease, from more rest, from receiving more without. So I'm not sure. Maybe it is me, but I still see everyone. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, it looks like it was her. So I'll just keep talking then. If you can still hear me, that would be helpful to know if you're on live. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about
Okay,
that.
great. So you all I couldn't tell if it was me freezing or if it was you freezing.
It's
Uh, Yeah, so I was
all
just sharing, how the Magdalene codes came in at a time for me where I knew certain things that I wanted to create, like working less or having a 3-day work week, and yet the codes really assisted in shifting that and having it be an act of love because they're really codes of love, and then also our clients as well. So the shifting from all the do to be receiving while we're sleeping, or doing energetic altars for our internal state, not only the external state. So there's lots of paradigm shifts within how to create abundance in the new paradigm.
awesome. Well, can you tell us a little bit about how you started working with, and I know that I mentioned Totha here, and that is one that I've always kind of gravitated to as well. Looking at the emerald tablets and just energetically, I just was like, wow, this is so fascinating. And I've been called, so it's really fun to have you come on because I've been really called to kind of just start looking at most any of the history there. And also, can you tell us a little bit about how that works with the Magdalens or who they even are?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, well, one of the things that is coming to me to share is really how we have affinities towards certain divine qualities. And that is connected to who we are, signature energy, and what we're here for. And so, Thoth, 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 Jehudi, Tahuti, the Egyptian god of infinite knowledge and scribing and communication, many different things, is really that infinite knowledge. And so for me, being a carrier of innovative and ancient wisdom, there really was a strong resonance. And so I actually first connected to guides like back in the 90s, and didn't really know anything about Egypt. But as a part of an energy healing modality, and then it was just like full on remembering and accessing, and then going to Egypt and taking folks to Egypt for years. Uh, and then and then after partnering so much with knowledge, with light, and the bodies of work that came through with Toth, the Magdalens came in and was like, okay, now it's time for love. Like that light workers, and especially highly intelligent folks like we, at one point, there's wisdom, and yet it can only be embodied if the heart is open. And so for me, that was really a leading wave. And that the Magdalens, yes, like when we think about Magdalens, like Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary, and I have a lot of an Egypt connection. So Isis, and so not only the feminine guides, but also Isis and Osiris, Mary Magdalene and Yeshua. And yet they also talk about how Magdalene is really being an adept with energy, so that we can
Mm.
Magdalenes too, like being able to, like a title, like a teacher or a doctor. So that was really cool when they came in and shared that
Yeah.
mm, masters with
And
energy.
especially, I think that's amazing because I still didn't get it that way, but I also didn't really, I was really like speed reading because I could, like I said, I couldn't put down the book and it was really late and I knew I should go to bed, but I still is one of those things you just like keep turning the page and it's just like, wow, you know. But one of the things that I found interesting was that in what you say about everyone can be a Magdalene, there Janet said, isn't it interesting when we were kind of looking at the stuff? She goes, isn't it interesting that right now, lots of different, what feels like to us, it could be, could not be, could or could not be the truth, but different speakers are coming to us and saying that they're channeling even Mary Magdalene or Magdalene Energy. Is that something that's you're finding as well? And is that really kind of more right now or kind of ramped up or and why?
Yeah, that's a really interesting exploration. And yeah, I would say probably the why, from my perspective, circling back to how you open with the Schumann number or whatever it is, the frequency of the
Yeah, the
planet.
Schumann resonance. Uh-huh.
Yeah, the Schumann resonance and that being created, increasing to the vibration of love, and that we're in this larger shifted consciousness, and that the vibration of love moves much faster. And so to me, it's very much about that increase in love vibration, or that we're moving from, or we've already moved, yet it doesn't seem like it on the outside yet, from that duality into love. And love can be that inclusive field that brings together the negative charge and the positive charge. So I do feel like that wave of consciousness is probably coming from that shift as well, just like in me,
Mm.
path of going, being on the wisdom path for so long, and then realizing that it needs to be embodied through love. And I just had a client the other day, and this happens all the time in my world, where folks are like, they'll experience channeling and then they'll remember their own channeling. And she was saying to me, like, I didn't know who the Magdalenes were. And then I did the Magdalene codes, and now I can't stop channeling them. And then maybe it's resonance too. Like maybe there's been a lot
Mm-hmm.
of folks that have been channeling beings of love for a while, and yet you and
Mm-hmm.
Jen are more in resonance with that as well.
Yeah, I can see that too. I know for me personally, it wasn't until I had a quantum healing hypnosis session, and then I had some really profound things happen in that session. So I volunteered to be a channel for some information that wanted to come through, and then all of a sudden it was like, and I remember driving over there for that session that day and saying, okay, I no matter how weird this is or whatever, I'm just going to be completely open and I'm going to say exactly what I'm seeing and whatever's coming to mind. And when I asked why I was given this information and why I was channeling it, basically my higher self was saying, because you were willing to be open and to turn your will over to have that experience. Can you talk a little bit about where we have to utilize or how the Magdalens work with free will?
Hmm. Yeah, well, it feels like such a foundation of what's come through and what I'm a stand for, and what the guides are a stand for as well, is that it really is a co-creative process, and one that I find works well from, and really kind of only works from, the place of equality or equanimity. And that, for a lot of folks, there can be that tendency to think that an outside source knows better, or to defer power to the divine or to guides, and like that just doesn't work. And so, or it creates a distortion. And so a
Mhm.
lot of the repatterning that I've experienced, and that our clients have experienced, have also been about right relationship in terms of free will and in terms of relationship. Because like the guides know where that is, and I've never seen them move into a power over or power under. Like they're really matching us in that equality and equanimity. And so that's been so restorative for the distortion around relationships.
Mhm.
So yeah, free will all day long.
Yes, and I even screenshot it when I was reading it on my phone. I was like, "Oh my gosh, we talk about free will all the time." And I loved how you put there's really no over under. It's, equanimity is the word that you used, and I believe the word you used. And I thought, wow, that is one of the best ways I had ever heard it described or explained. And so I that's why I wanted you to touch on it because I was like screenshotting, I was like, yes, yes, and this makes sense. And so I thought that was very interesting because sometimes there might be a little bit of misconception of how channel leaving even works, right? Like, turn what free will would even look like, or am I gonna? be inundated with stuff that I don't want to be inundated with, right? Or am I going to have like, you know, uh, am I going to be forced to make these, decisions, or these, like, someone's going to take me and do something with me, that kind of thing. I mean, there's lots of misconceptions. I'm just making some stuff up and being extravagant with it. But I think when we hear things like working together and there's no over or under, it's a creative process, then that gives us a sense of like, okay, I can be safe with how I decide to co-create with the Magdalenes, for example, or how I use the manifestation cards. And that's really why I wanted you to touch on that.
Mhm.
Um, so going into some of the stuff that we wanted to talk about, it's what is multidimensional abundance?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the shifts continue. So, multidimensional abundance is creating abundance in key areas that matter most to us in our mission. And so, for example, in the deck, there's four resource codes. There's yummy money, sublime time, radiant energy, and divine relationships. And so, a lot of old conditioning is like where we're trading one form of abundance for another, or we might be like focusing on one form of abundance and having our foot on the gas on that. And yet,
Mhm.
in my experience, unless we're creating multidimensional abundance, one of those areas will start to put the brake on. So, on the physical plane, multidimensional abundance really means creating abundance simultaneously in the areas that matter most to you. And then on the energetic planes, it also means that we're multidimensional, that we have our frequency and our energy and our higher selves, our divine selves, that we are multidimensional. So we don't have to only be using our capacities in terms of how much time we have in a day, or our intelligence to figure something out, yet really to be out creating that and creating from our multidimensionality, like multidimensional communication or telepathic communication. That's probably how we connected. And those of you that are tuning in, right? There's a vibrational recognition or a signature that you go, oh yeah, that's where I want to be right now.
Yeah, for sure. So how, and I think you kind of answered this already, but how do the Magdalens support us in manifesting our deepest desires?
Yeah. Well, the codes, the cards, like I
Yes.
have Sublime Time, one of the resource codes, or divine relationships. So just some of the ones that I was talking about.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of different ways that they support us, where we can use the cards to create these energy vortexes. And that basically what we're desiring is moving faster, as an idea or a frequency. And so our vibration also needs to be matching that higher frequency. And then as it comes into a slower vibration, not a lower vibration, but just speed wise to materialize. Uh,
Hmm.
I found that having an energy vortex or an energetic container holding our focuses, our intentions, give it like a garden to grow in, to kind of have the transducer or that shift in vibration to come into frequency. And so um, the cards are like each Magdalene's in a way, they're Magdalene codes. So we can also partner with them like beings of love, or have a Magdalene council that's supporting us with our manifestations. It's really a lot of ways.
Yeah, no, I know. And I said the word spreads earlier because that's what my mom said, but I do remember reading that when you pull the cards and you have, like, for me, the very first one I pulled was like these two together. And I really struggle with the kind of the old paradigm where I feel like I have to give up one thing to get another. I always felt like I really struggle with, like, do I have time? Right. So then I always feel like I'm giving up time in order to like either if it was get get money or whatever those things. I always felt like there wasn't always enough, or maybe I'm giving up time with my family to do business. Like I just didn't let the universe support me. I didn't let my guide support me. And then I find my creations would be, half here and kind of like not really with the container. And I found what you were saying was that these would create almost a womb, like
Mhm.
a really sacred space by which we can create our most deepest desires, right? Like it holds that container. And even from just a oh, I don't even like the word, what's the word, like even from just like a metaphysical standpoint, right? If you don't know, even if you don't know if you believe everything, from the intention alone, creating, just pulling those cards and saying, okay, this is the womb for this creation, already starts to pull energy toward that creation to come into fruition, I suppose. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Mhm. Yeah, and I love that you pulled the Infinite Love Meridian cards that really is connecting to the infinite supply of all that there is, which is
Yes,
and that really shifts us from thinking, a client's our source or a parent's a source or the to really recognizing that there is that, or there's a limited amount of resources to that infinite multidimensional connection to resources where we have those experiences of sublime time where things get done and yet they don't need to all get done by you or
right?
there's leveraged ways of creating like when I went from working one-on-one and massage therapy to then writing a card deck. Like thousands of people have this card deck and I'm not physically there with them. So there's also some kind of time leaping stuff. And yeah,
Nice.
what's coming to me too is the color and the sacred geometry, that there's
Mhm.
a sacred geometry that creates like this hologram and the colors are so nourishing and that goes beyond our minds or trying to figure it out. So they also feel like a sound bath. I had a Magdalene reunion the other day, and one of the gals was saying, I just want to, I know I shouldn't, but I just like, I want to lick the cards, like I want to imbibe the color.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get what you, I don't know if I had that same experience, but I get like you just want to, yes, like bathe in it, I suppose is the word. Yes. Yeah, how funny. But because there, I mean, you can see here, and it's got these really beautiful colors, the sacred geometry stuff that transforms us without without our frontal cortex being able to be, or our ego trying to get involved, right? It just goes straight to the heart of things. And I think that's really, really interesting to create fruition or to create change even too. One of the things that when I wanted to make sure that we could get the audience involved if they want to raise their hands is, can the Magdalene share a message with us and offer us a Magdalene manifestation card reading?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I'll just take a minute or a moment
Okay.
and grab the guides and just invite each of you to tune into your own heart, your own field, and that choice to co-create, to be here. Hello, dear ones. This is Toth with an expanded Magdalene Council, moving more into the forefront of this divine transmission. And our opening message as we tune into the group field that is present here is really to go deeper into the uniqueness of your path, that we're seeing your feet. And as we're seeing your feet, there's a simultaneity of grounding, feeling your feet on the ground, being supported by the elements, by earth, by the physical plane, rather than trying to get out of the physical plane. The physical plane you've chosen to incarnate, it is also a very pleasurable experience. And so the feet are coming forward to assist you in grounding and also receiving support from the physical plane, as well as we're feeling a very strong, how to say, almost a little bit like a confusion around a one size fits all way of operating, to which we would say is really the divine truth, is that your path, the feet that you have, the path that you have, why you came in, the individuals that you have in your life, all the millions of things that are a part of your world is absolutely unique to you. And then we're also seeing, it's funny because we haven't really had something like this come in before, where we're just seeing your feet. And as we're seeing your feet, it's like these little mini readings for each of you. And so one may resonate for you more than another, but we're also seeing like a running, and a hopscotch, like a jumping, like I don't feel like I'm on my right path. And so I'm trying to get over here, and then I'm jumping over here, and I'm jumping over there. And then somebody else is like running really fast and like feeling behind. You're not behind.
Mm.
And there's no way to not be on your path. So we're also in this opening message really inviting you to recognize that one of the fastest paths to creating, actualizing, physicalizing what matters most to you is to drop trying to actualize and create what you think should matter to you, or what is out there thought to be what is important, and really invite you to move into your customized, bespoke life. You're unique. There's no one else like you. And the more that you can lean into that, the more you can also uncouple from that one size fits all. So that's our opening message: to ground, to feel your feet, to be supported by the physical plane rather than trying to get out of your bodies, and to recognize that your path is unique to you.
Wow, thank you for that. I think a question that came over was, Joe says, yes, we see our feet, but do we really see our feet? And Shira says, love that. Thank you. And I think that may lead into what you were saying about maybe trying to escape our bodies. I'm not sure, but the question really was, do we really see our feet?
Mhm, mhm.
Maybe you can tune into that and provide a little bit of guidance there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when we hear that, to us it seems like a contribution, or rather than a question of like,
Okay.
our feet are there all the time. Do we really see them? Uh,
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Right. Right. That do we really acknowledge them? And where are those other areas that things would have always been there, but do we really acknowledge them? Do we really see them?
mhm.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you for that awareness. Does anyone else have a question? Would like to raise your hand? Please feel free to put it in the chat or just raise your hand as well. Manisha says, thank you, Danielle. Really resonated with me. Felt you were speaking to my soul. Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, interesting. I wanted to, I think I also have another question. Cesar Gomez says, hi, good morning. Just wanted to ask, have any of you had any matrix glitches? And I'm not sure. Uh, and then somebody else says, that was probably for me running. Yeah, I felt a lot of that resonance with me too. Like, uh, and I didn't know if you had any feedback for the question about the matrix glitches.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, well, we would go a little bit back to the escaping the body thing first. And that one of the cards that was pulled for this particular experience was the ecstatic bliss card. And when we're speaking about your feet and really feeling nourished, supported by color, by the earth, by the elements, that bliss exists in each and every moment. And when you home into what matters most to you, then there's an essentializing or a simplification that happens that really amplifies your results. And so anywhere that you may have an idea that being outside of your body is more pleasurable, and we aren't saying that sometimes there isn't an experience that's pleasurable when you're outside of your body, we'd also invite you to include that being in the body is and can be a pleasurable experience. And on that note, it's like as we're tuning in, some of you may be trying to actualize or physicalize something without being without being fully present in the physical plane. And if you're wanting to create something in the physical plane and you're not at least connected to the dimension of you that is in the physical plane, then you may create it in the higher planes and not in the physical plane. So we're not here to convince anyone of anything by any means. And yet it can just in this now moment assist you if you choose to soften into a moment where you experienced pleasure of being in the physical body. In terms of the matrix glitches,
Mhm.
we, how to say, because technology is so much a part of your world at this time, and there's like that buffering thing, right? That you all have experienced that little rainbow wheel of, or the Zoom that gets frozen.
Yep.
That
Just experienced it a little while ago. Yep.
that sense of buffering or that sense of being in limbo or that sense of something that's being frozen or the matrix glitch where Danielle's remembering the Matrix movie where the black cat was walking in front of the door and then it reversed itself and it was just like that auto
Mm.
autopilot, the uh, automated thing that
Yeah.
what we are noticing in the field is an increase of almost like buffering and overload in your systems because that's what happens or that's probably one of the technological reasons why something buffers is there's like too much coming in without the infrastructures for all that's to come in, which goes back to our focus on rather than trying to create everything that isn't actually yours to create, we'd invite you to be more streamlined and to create what's really going to matter most to you. So that's our energetic take that the buffering is happening because there is an inundation of energies that don't really have anything to do with you. So that just continues to deepen into our opening message that you're unique, you're like a key that unlocks certain experiences. And when you make that shift to recognizing even more that your path is unique to you, your signature energy is unique to you, then there'll be less of that overload or feeling like you may have the weight of the world on your shoulders or you're feeling energies that don't really apply to your unique situation. We don't mean an ostrich in the sand kind of a way. We mean you're a highly refined energetic being on a one of a kind path that's unlike anybody else's. And so some stuff just really has nothing to do with you. It's not a part of why you're here or who you are. So there's also
Wow.
permission to not try to stay on top of everything.
Oh, I feel like you're speaking directly to me. Yeah, I even just said that earlier at the start of the call is one of the areas where I do struggle to sometimes set boundaries and then find myself in lots of different directions, trying to, and then pushing and forcing, trying to make some things be for me or create things for me. And then also being, having grown up with the news always on and always, being told that I should, get out there and fight for what I believe in and fight for what I believe is right. And then that really creates a lot of rift. And I find myself like always kind of like sometimes just it's the complete opposite of head in the sand. It's like almost too much of the information. And I even know that sometimes I'm like, okay, this is not for me. But then I have a lot of friends that are maybe they're politically charged or they always told us to get out there and do stuff and create movements and stuff like that. So I have like a lot of friends around me that pay attention a lot. And I find myself paying attention to maybe things that are not really for me right now, or I can't do anything to truly change that, or should even try to manipulate anything there. But yet I'm putting my energy out in all these places that that really may be inundating my energy field, really. So I don't know if anybody else can relate, but that's, especially with how fast the media cycle is running. I'm just using media as one thing, right? It can be relate to other things, but with how fast everything is running, it feels maybe other people might be feeling like stuff is just coming at you really fast. What do you suggest for someone like me experiencing that? I know you just gave a really great example and but just from moment to moment, like how can I just pull back? What would be something you would suggest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, sometimes what you're choosing to create hasn't come into vibrational proximity with you or physical plane experience because your hands are full. Like
Mm.
if you've been saying, okay, I really would love to have a beautiful bouquet of flowers, and somebody is bringing you those flowers, and yet your hands are full, there's no there's no space to really receive those flowers.
Oh.
Like,
I'm
so
like, oh.
so allowing, sometimes we use a basketball analogy. Danielle played basketball growing up. Sometimes it's like just having all the balls that you're trying to dribble and having the whole team dribbling balls, and there's all these balls that are being dribbled. And then that moment of when they get put back on the shelf, and there's just one
Mhm.
or two or three balls that are being dribbled. So we're sharing that as a little bit of an energetic incentive is the word that's coming through. That's a funny word for Danielle. Yet a little bit of a deeper reason as to why having more spaciousness and giving yourself permission to put some balls away or to not to have space in your hands, that can be also compelling. And then there's recognition of repeating cycles. So we're always present with the moment. If a question comes in about the matrix, or a video gets frozen, like that's a part of the present moment. And so that recognition as well, when something's repeating, that there's usually a hook or a mirror or an infrastructure that puts it on some kind of a recycle. And so
Yeah.
it may be, well, I have to stay informed. Okay, so you may choose to stay informed, and yet do you need to spend 80 times being informed in a day? Did that much change since yesterday? So it's also recognizing whatever you say to yourself, whether it's something that you've bought from somebody else, has been handed
Hmm.
down, or something that you feel that then gets you hooked back in. So there's also a little bit of that paying attention to the moment before it happens. Like Danielle has horses, and she notices with one of her horses that there's like before her horse gets spooked, there's something that happens much, much earlier. And if they just stay in the parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxed system, before that, then it's so much easier than once she gets into the sympathetic nervous system or their survival consciousness. And that's the same for each of you as well. So that's what we would add
Yeah.
about that is like, why would you want to open up space? Like what's going to make that seem more aligned than continuing the old pattern? That can help.
Hmm. Yeah, I really love that you said that because what was coming up for me when I was even asking the question was the word why. Why would you want to? And so giving you that question of why would you want to create the space, then immediately with my when you were giving the analogy, I was like, so I can hold the flowers, so I can receive them, please. I love that so much. Paula says, I'm finding that as I am in this pause of going from always doing to being, and so much of the things that used to bring me joy seems superficial. And now trying to find things that bring me joy feel elusive. I can relate with that, Paula. And it says, and in the just being, I feel like I'm wasting time. Any advice on how to navigate? Ooh, good question, Joe says. And I agree, Paula. That's a great question. Let me know if
Mhm.
you want me to reread that.
Mhm, mhm, we got it. So
Okay,
uh,
good.
the the sacred pause, the in-between state, whether that's in this life or when you're in between lives, that there's like the interlife. And that space, what we would say is that something's always happening, even if you don't see it, like the garden, that the seeds are planted and it's growing, and you may want to dig around to see the seed, to see if it's growing. So that may assist you to go like, something's always happening, and the sacred pause is really productive. It's a really productive time. And we absolutely recognize that what used to matter to you when you're in a new evolutionary stage in consciousness, or what used to light you up, that when it no longer does, that's also a time to celebrate that you have gone through an ascension, descension spiral. You've completed, you've fulfilled, and that's a widespread thing. It's a lot of individuals are experiencing that, of like a big chunk of why I came in, I to this life I've completed, or I just had a rite of passage, and it might be forced from the outside, like where a job completed, or going into retirement, or kids moving out of the house, or having kids, or some kind of a milestone experience, that there's that one thing that can speed it up, because most likely you like the part that comes after the pause, the clarity, the zest for life, the joy,
Yeah.
is to celebrate the last phase, to acknowledge something is always happening. And then we'd invite you, if you're called to have the Magdalene cards, to do a spread on an internal state, to do a spread on a mood or a feeling, or your emotional set point. And so maybe it's joy that you're really desiring to have as your thermostat, or maybe it's freedom, or can also be just the remnants of burnout from being tired and doing so many things. And so maybe you would have, and this is less of a feeling tone, and yet it is, like energized or vitality as your set point, and to pull a spread for that, because you've had experiences where you're doing the same thing, and one day it doesn't light you up and another day it does. And yet you're the common denominator in that. Like you can hold a state of being inside, and then that also changes your perception of whatever's going on. So we know that was a lot, and yet there was more of you that had a piece of that than Paula as you asked the question. So we were covering a little bit more customized for each individual. So
Yeah,
how's
thank
that
you.
landing or resonating?
Paula, any feedback, or Joe? I know that that was really landing for me. So thank you for that really, yeah, profound question. Because I do have that sometimes where I'm just like, yeah, that's not really, I'm not really feeling that. Or I feel like it's even sometimes, where I was hanging out with friends and stuff like that, it just felt like it was a little bit tough and superficial and a little bit not like the stuff they were talking about. Just, I mean, no, nothing, but like, I just, I just wanted to spend maybe my time just kind of doing something a little bit different. And then there's times where I come back and I'm like, oh man, this is exactly what I needed. So I think that's, it resonated. Manisha says, yes, it resonated. Shara said, it's like being lost and trying to feel and find home. Yeah, it is. It really is. Um, it's interesting, but I do like the idea of celebrating and then coming back to where we are now. I do want to give a little bit of time to talk about the special offer that you've made for our audience today. Thank you so much. And I am going to pull it up and have you actually talk about it because
Yeah.
that would be great.
Okay, so we're gonna step aside here and sending much love and appreciation to each of you and acknowledging your contribution to the elevation in consciousness. All is light and love, and we are all. Hmm.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah, so
What was yours?
our special offer. uh, let's see what we got here.
All right.
So, yeah, I'm really excited about this special offer. It is one of the most potent Magdalene codes that's from the card deck that you can actually activate. And it's based on the birthright of love, code of love, that really assists you in manifesting what matters most to you and to your mission. And so
Mhm.
it's a channeled 90-minute activation, really assisting you a little bit like what Paula was saying, to have clarity on, well, what is it that matters most to me and my mission? Like what really is lighting me up? What's mine to actualize or to physicalize? And then also one of the core components of that really shifts is activating the birthright of love, that love is a given, that you're loved, that you don't need to prove anything. And I really have found in my own experience partnering with the codes and our clients that that act of love, like I knew, for example, when the codes came in and I was really in a burnout phase, like I had this vision of having a 3-day work week or a 4-day work week, and I tried like all these hacks to make it happen. But then I'd find myself, on my phone on the weekend or whatever. I just like I didn't have the energetic fortitude to put that in place. And the birthright of love and the working with the codes really assisted with that, uh, to have the energetic capacity to create. And then it also includes a bonus live call as a part of our Ascended Master Playdate community, which is super fun, where we go more deeply into the books or into the Magdalene cards, and then also have a chance to interact. So the guides bring in new teachings, they go into the greatest hits, and also take what's in the books and the card deck further than what's shared. So really amazing special offer here. Oh, you
Yes.
got it pulled up. I didn't see that. Yeah, I was reading it
Oh,
too.
okay. Yes, yes, yes. Um, and so, it says you'll get immediate access to the 90-minute channeled activation, a customized multidimensional remote manifest what matters to you most, love energy vortex. And then the one of the guides, the vortex is one of your guides and highest level of mastery. Whoa, that's really cool. And then the bonus that you just mentioned earlier, which is the live bonus call with Daniel, with you and the guides. So that's very, very cool. And then uh, we
Yeah,
have,
the energy vortexes are just amazing. It's really phenomenal. Uh, it's like a remote, personalized energy session to assist you in manifesting what matters most, and folks just love them. I love them too.
awesome. Yeah, I can imagine. I'm going to put this information, everyone, in the chat. They'll also put the information for the link. Which, it's valued at $497. She's doing this for us, and I think I just pulled it up for 297. So a really, really great special. If you're feeling called to do this really great special with Danielle, then definitely choose it. And so I'm going to put it here in the chat, and then I'm also going to put it in the YouTube. You'll find it in the description link, and then you'll also find it in our newsletter. So if you're not signed up for our newsletter, be sure to do that, because we also have a free gift that Danielle has brought for us as well. And you can get that by signing up for the newsletter, and you'll get that all of that information plus the special offer that you see here. That button will be below Danielle's beautiful picture on our newsletter. So that'll come out with the replay. And if you're not getting any of that information, you can always email me at team@houthustle.com or sign up to get the newsletter at www.houthustle.com. But let me put this in the chat for you right now. And then stop my share.
Yeah, amazing. So many synchronicities with the date of our live call with those of you in the chat, birthday or friend's birthday, one of those signs from the
Yeah.
universe.
May 22nd, that's my husband's birthday. That's too funny, Shara. And then Paula says May 20th. Oh my goodness, is the daughter's birthday. Oh yeah. I mean, this is really intense, deep work that I could, like I said, I could not put it down. I already knew this was exactly what my soul had been calling out to receive and to really understand a lot more. Because again, I was doing that whole trade one thing for another, and it really comes to like a scarcity mindset. And I knew that I wanted to choose something different. And I was like, well, lo and behold, this landed in my lap, and now my mom wants to do it with me. So I thought that was really cool. So keeping each other really inspired. And it really didn't even take much to do that, so that you can work with the codes and the cards all together. So anyway, if you're feeling called, please just choose that. I put the link in the chat, and I will put that in the descriptions. Tell us a little bit about the free gift that you have for us too, Danielle, so make sure that people feel called to grab that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I do have
Yeah.
the link if you would pull it up.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know that it's a beautiful like series of micro master classes to
Yes.
accelerate your manifestations with the Magdalene energies, and that the guides really go into kind of some of the big paradigm shifts, and we've talked about them here as well. But how to tap into the Magdalene energy, get introduced to the Magdalenes, and find out, how you can partner them with them. You can create through love and receptivity without the doing of the old paradigm. So a lot of what we talked about, co-creating from abundance across all areas of your life. So I'm just a little bit further down, I think, or maybe you're there. Yeah. Embracing the divine feminine and partnering with the non-physical. And then there's also a Meet the Magdalenes channeled guided meditation. So a beautiful bundle. And one of the things I love too
Yeah.
about this free gift is like their micro master classes. So sometimes we might not have an hour to sit down and go into it, but these like 5 key master classes and a guided meditation that can pop in as well when the struggle bunnies come up.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing both the special offer and the beautiful gift with us. Again, sign up for the newsletter. We'll make sure to get the all of the information to you, and that's at www.houthustle.com. And I'm putting this into the chat as well. Danielle, so I'm going to stop the share so that way we can bring you back up. I know that we're getting pressed for time, but I wanted to ask if you had any parting words for us today. Let me pin you back up here.
Yeah. Well, I did a 3-card spread for this session, and I spoke about the ecstatic bliss, but I also pulled 2 of the same code, which is fully realized. So there's 2 images of this. So I always think it's very powerful when both of them come up. And so my closing words are really fully realized in terms of your spiritual adeptness and being able to utilize energy, frequency, the higher planes to create. And then also fully realize committing to creating what you desire to full fruition, to that 100%. And that together, the integrated higher planes and physical plane really is an extraordinary combination. So just wanted to close with that, fully realized. And then also we had our ecstatic bliss card as a part of the spread. So sending you much bliss and joy in the creation process as well.
I thank you so much for that. And, thank you for all of the information that you shared here today and for the channeled message. It's such a beautiful body of work that you've put together. And I can't wait to dive into the rest of it all. And if you have any questions, for us, if anybody on the line today, if anything is really calling you, please write us in, let us know at team@houthustle.com. And let us know what you have in the comments too. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Danielle. We'll let you get on with your day before we do some other announcements for the day as well.
You're welcome, and sending love to Jenith too.
Yes. Alrighty. A few announcements for everybody. I love how I have to keep flipping all this, and Jenith does all this behind the scenes. So it's really funny when I'm like, okay, do I got everybody going on, and can everybody hear me still? A few announcements. Next week, we're really excited about having 2 amazing people join us. On Tuesday, next Tuesday, we have Jill Matson, and she is a renowned sound healer. Basically, everything that we know vibrates with sound, including our bodies, which need to be balanced in frequencies from all the frequencies to thrive. And from research, we now know that sound is actually how it can truly change us, and it can create healing, in fact, and it can create changes within us that we don't even physically have to understand what it's doing in order to have that profound change. And so she's going to talk to us a little bit about that, and so she's going to bring some sound healing examples and some sound bath, and really take us through rewiring our DNA through sound encoding. And it's going to be really fun, and I always love this topic because I'm a singer and I love sound, and I'm always playing the different sound frequencies that I got from Jill before in the background. And I can't tell you how many times that I will be in some funky place and how fast that changes me. So I really invite you to come and join us and just kind of really embrace the juiciness. And then Thursday, we're having Fallon Jordan, and Fallon is a world leading certified brain health coach. She's a brain health professional and brain health trainer. She's also the founder of Quantum Brain Health Coaching. She will be talking to us about how to deal from, how to heal from depression, anxiety, ADHD, and neurological issues the natural way. So really interested in that. I know that I didn't realize that I was having some ADHD issues and some neurology. Okay, I can't even say it now. Some neurology issues that were really kind of shifting the way I was feeling. And I thought that it was a little bit more than just maybe hormones, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And when I really started reading through her research, I realized that there are much more natural and simplistic ways of actually changing how my brain is operating and how it wants to view the world around me. And, if you're not feeling great, if you're feeling funky, man, it can really throw you for a loop. So I do invite you to come and listen to this really interesting conversation. I'm so glad that we're putting this on the forefront and that much more research is coming out. Plus, that we can do it naturally. So come join us for Fallon Jordan on Thursday. Of course, I always want to tell you to like and subscribe, join the newsletter for all the special gifts. You get a special gift from Jenneth and I right when you join. So it's at www.houthustle.com. And then wanted to let you know that we have the Mystique Society. It's our mastermind inner circle. We meet every second Tuesday, every second Wednesday of the month. And next time we meet will be next, not this upcoming Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. And we're really excited. It's just a place where we meet, we open the line, and we have an exchange of psychic and energetic gifts that really come online. The conversations are so in depth. There's not any questions that anyone has any judgment over. It's a place where we really come and feel free. And then we explore our journey as these really beautiful light beings and star seeds. And so we talk about how we kind of navigate the world in which we can bring more of our gifts to fruition and actually help more people and our own selves create the lives of our dreams. And if you want more information about that, we have it at www.houthustle.com/Mystique Society. Also, we always want to remind you that it sounds funny when I'm doing all the announcements. We want to remind you that we believe in giving back. So riseandup.org is an organization started by students that refurbishes laptops and gives them back to other students in need for wealth and education. So again, if you want to get involved in any of the things that we talked about here, if you have any questions, of course, always put the comments and then send us an email at team@houthustle.com. We're so excited that you joined us and continue to join us each week, every Tuesday and Thursday with big hugs and love. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great one, y'all. We'll see you next week. Yay. Thanks, Paula. Bye-bye.